I would build a brand online. I would decide what platform that I felt most comfortable with, and I would zero in on that platform. Doesn't matter what it is. It could be YouTube, it could be a blog, it could be Instagram, it could be Facebook, it could be X, right? But I would zero in on a platform and I would build a brand over there and I would add massive value around whatever the topic is that my brand is focused on, and build a new community of people.
Welcome to MLM Nation, a podcast of leaders, by leaders, for leaders, hosted by Simon Chan. He's built a team of over 200,000 and is now a full-time MLM coach and trainer. So if you're ready to level up your business, join us now. Let's do this.
MLM Nation, this is Simon Chan. I'm fired up to bring our special guest today. We have Bec Sadek. Hey, Bec, are you ready to make it happen?
Let's do this, Simon. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
I'm excited for this interview. For those who don't know Bec, we connected like 3 weeks ago at the Traction Marketing event. And first of all, she's a New Yorker. She actually lived where I went to high school, which is rare. And I actually was talking to her like, I've interviewed over 800 people almost, and never anyone who lived near where I went to school, where I grew up. So, but for those who don't know Bec, she worked at various jobs before network marketing. She taught in Italy for a year, was a concierge in New York City, and then worked in corporate America. And no matter what she did, Bec always felt she was put in the box and work until you're 65 and then you retire, that type of box. She quit her job to become a health coach and then she was introduced to network marketing. Today, Bec is a multiple six-figure earner with a team of over 97,000 people. So Bec, welcome to MLM Nation. I shared with everyone a brief background, but take us back to your past. How did you go from doing all those jobs and eventually who introduced you to network marketing?
Yeah, well, first of all, Simon, thank you again for having me. I'm super pumped to be here. And when we met a couple of weeks ago and I realized you were a New Yorker too, I was like, I think you're the first person in network marketing that I've ever met from New York. So I'm very excited to be here with you. So I was introduced to this industry 13 years ago. Honestly, being a New Yorker, not something I had really heard much about before. I didn't have a lot of, preconceived ideas around, whatever else it is that people think about the industry. But having, grown up and being forced into, going to college and having specific careers, I just always felt like I didn't really fit in that box. Like you said, it wasn't really for me. I struggled a lot in school. And looking back, I actually think a lot of it was disinterest. I just wasn't that excited about, going to school every day, doing what I was supposed to do, going out, getting a job, going to college. But I followed the motions. I did all the things and tried a bunch of different jobs. As you said, I did some concierge work in New York City, lived for a year, was talking to a friend one day. I was actually in this corporate job and she told me that she was getting certified as a health coach. And I was like, a health coach? What's that? Right? Like never heard of health coaching before. And she told me that she was going to do this certification and then she was going to open her own business health coaching people. And it was one of the first times that somebody had mentioned anything to me about being an entrepreneur, which I know sounds funny, but it just was never something that was mentioned to me. And I loved the idea. I was very interested in health and wellness at the time, and I decided to go and get that certification as well. Started my own business as a health coach, and that had me pounding the pavements of New York City looking for clients. So this was 14, 15 years ago at this point. I was doing networking groups. I was doing all the things to get in rooms with people to try and sell my services. And through that process, I learned a lot about being an entrepreneur. I learned a lot about networking. I learned a lot about rejection. However, I met somebody who introduced me to network marketing through that process. She was also doing health coaching and we got coffee and she pulled out this catalog and she was like, hey, have you ever thought about, selling your own supplements to people and earning a residual income? Another term I'd never heard before. So I was like, yeah, that sounds great. Zero objections. I was like, yeah, let's make some money. And I'd love to be able to offer high quality products to these people that are trusting me with their health and create a new stream of income.
So how did you do once you got started?
So initially, like first 10 months, I actually had some fast success and I thought it was going to be easy. I was like, oh, this is great. I had a list of clients already I was working with. So I was able to get, you know, 20, 25 people using the products really quickly. I had a network of health coaches that I had been meeting and networking with through these networking groups in New York City. And I started telling them about the possibility of residual income, and people started joining me. And I thought that this was the best industry that was ever created because all of a sudden I had this main thing that was making me money. And then I was creating this side thing that was also making me money. So I did really well in my first 10 months. Um, I made it to one of those mid-level ranks where you're making pretty good money part-time. Once I hit those mid-level ranks, I had a reality check, right? Like people started quitting, people started canceling their subscriptions. And I realized that if I really wanted to grow in this industry, I had to really take it seriously and learn some new skills. So I would say fast success, hit a wall, had a reality check, was humbled a little bit, and had to really decide that this was something I wanted to take seriously.
So what happened after you hit the wall? Obviously, you didn't quit. But what are some of the things you did differently?
Well, I thought about quitting, right? I was like, maybe this isn't really worth it. But first, what I did was I really started tapping into the resources that were available through my team at that time. To be very honest with you, I wasn't doing that very consistently, right? Like I was just kind of doing my own thing. But I started reaching out to my uplines and saying, hey, I want to learn more about this. I'm really enjoying it, but I'm struggling. So I started tapping into the resources that they had first, and learning more about how people were getting successful. I feel very grateful that I started in this industry with this very old legacy company. And so I got to learn from veterans in the industry, like people that have been doing this for 30, 40 years. And that was invaluable and still is today, right? Like even with social media and all the other ways to build a business, I have so much gratitude for my first years in this industry, learning from these people that understood the fundamentals of network marketing in a way that I think we're losing a little bit today. So I would say that was the first thing I really did was just tapped in to my uplines and what was available.
So it seems like when you first started, just because you had a network, you have fast success, but you weren't really treating it seriously, and you really going hardcore, right? And then you made that switch.
Yeah, I think that's definitely accurate.
After you made the switch, what was like an aha moment you had, or a light bulb moment where things really start to take off for you?
So for me, doing this health coaching thing and then doing odd jobs and corporate stuff, the only thing I was really familiar with at the time was trading time for money. So when you start to have these paychecks come in for work that you did, 6 months ago, 7 months ago, 8 months ago, and understand how that can compound over time, that was a big aha moment for me. And specifically, when I first started in network marketing, I was actually pregnant at the time with my oldest daughter. She's 12 now. And I remember after I gave birth, I came home from the hospital and, like you have kids, right? Like it's just crazy after you give birth. And I remember I got a check in the mail. This like makes me seem old, right? But you remember the days when like you actually got physical checks in the mail. So I got a check in the mail, and it was for $900. And I remember being like, wow, I just made $900 while giving birth from work that I've been doing over the past 9, 10 months. And for me, that was a major aha moment because my life had changed. Now I had a kid. I had grown my business through pounding the pavements of New York City, and I knew that wasn't going to work anymore. So seeing that check come in for work I had done prior changed my entire perspective on how you make money.
Yeah, I think we kind of lose that. Like it's funny you said that. Today I just got an unexpected check. Wasn't that much. It was like $700 something, but it was something I did before. But I remember, but it didn't feel. I think the feeling wasn't the same back in the day, and because we're all old, right? When we get the check in the mail, that felt awesome because you actually had to go to the bank, and then every time you hold that check, it's like, wow, this is residual. I didn't do anything, and you get that.
Yeah, it's the best feeling in the world.
I think if people really understood what residual income was like, I think one of my mentors told me this, people work way, way so much harder if it really understood what it was like. That feeling you're
Yeah.
talking about.
And if they really believed that it was possible.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people think that it's this myth that people actually get to live this way.
So let's talk about this because you're from New York. And by the way, you're watching on the YouTube channel. She's got a bright red Yankee hat on. Go Yankees. You mentioned that I was the only other network marketer from New York City, right? And I was the same way. I was probably around the same age when you discovered network marketing. I'd never heard of a network marketing. I didn't even know what those parties, whatever it was like. But somehow you managed to grow a very successful business. So I'm asking you this question because a lot of people who I coach say this, well, I'm from the Northeast. People are very skeptical. I'm from New York. No one believes me. What would you say to that? How would you grow? Because obviously you did it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, skepticism runs deep in the Northeast. I don't think that that's wrong or a lie. And I think that there's more obstacles with people in the Northeast than there maybe is in the Midwest or other parts of the world in the country. But there's this thing, I don't know if you've heard of it, Simon, it's called social media. And it allows you to literally reach people all over the world with a device in the palm of your hands. So one of the things that actually really attracted me to social media was this ability to get out of my warm market, right? So I started with my warm market. And by the way, I think that everybody should, because I think you learn some really valuable lessons doing that. And in today's world, you're going to start with your warm market more on social media than in person, most likely. But I learned very quickly that if I wanted to keep growing, I had to meet more people. And social media allows you to communicate with people that maybe don't have the same skepticism as they do in the Northeast. So I would say that's one thing. The second thing is that New Yorkers are skeptical, but if you are able to have a conversation and handle their objections, they're also very reasonable. So don't count out people in the Northeast either. Some of my very best leaders are from the Northeast because once they decide that this is something good, they're loyal, right? They're locked in.
Yeah, I think also because one of my top leaders was also from New York. It's like people like us that we were open to it, right? We never knew about it, so don't prejudge New Yorkers because the next your friend could be like the next Bec Sadek who never heard of network marketing and you said you jumped in with no objection.
Zero objections. Yeah, but
no objection because we're just like this. So there's people out there. Yeah, a lot of them are skeptical, are just waiting for you to reach out to them.
I totally agree with you. I think that there's people that are like totally skeptical of it, want nothing to do with it. And then I think there's people that don't even know it exists and they won't know until you have a conversation with them.
Yeah. So you can see like on the, like, because there's people always are complaining, right? And then there's other places in the country, like in Utah, where everyone's in network marketing. I don't want to do it. Well, in New York, a lot of people don't know about it and it could be open to it. So there's always positives everywhere. So talking about that, you recently spoke at the attraction marketing event and you're very good at attraction marketing. So that's kind of tied into attracting people on social media. What is actually attraction marketing and how could people use it to recruit people?
Yeah, love that. So you asked me earlier, like, what was the shift for me? What was the big aha moment, right?
Yeah.
And at the time, it was plugging into the resources that existed. Then came a point after that where I hit another stuck state, right? Like we're always hitting these stuck states in our business. And I did not really know how to use social media at the time to get into new circles, to attract conversations, to attract leads. So this was about 7 years ago now. I decided to really lean in and study attraction marketing. And I hired some mentors and some coaches outside of my company and really leaned in to learn this new skill set. And attraction marketing is essentially putting out content on social media that attracts or pulls in your ideal business partner or customer.
So if someone would say, this sounds good because my warm market are all skeptical and I don't know how to reach people on social media, what's the first thing they should do?
So if you don't know how to meet people on social media and you want to get out of your warm market, the number one thing that you should be doing right now is first identifying who you're trying to connect with. Okay. So you want to identify who you're trying to connect with. And then if I were starting from scratch today, trying to build a brand new warm market, I would be doing short form video every single day to connect with the person that is my ideal prospect.
How do you find your ideal prospect? What would you
Yeah.
recommend?
So what I think is really cool about the opportunity that we have right now on social media is that Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok are all pushing out your content to strangers, right? Like that's crazy to me. So 13 years ago, if I wanted to get in front of 100 people in a month, I would literally have to probably do like 2 meetings a day, inviting hundreds of people to join me in order to get in front of 100 people. In today's world, right? You can put up one short form video and you can get in front of 100 people in an hour. So my advice would be figure out exactly who you do want to connect with, right? Like what are their values? What are their hobbies? What matters to them? And create content that speaks to that person, and then shoot out tons of content that allows them to learn to know, like, and trust you.
Yeah, I think people have to change that mindset. I think you brought a really good point. You said it pushes to strangers, right? Because I think when social media first started, it was a way to connect with your network, with your people and your friends. Now, social media is not a way to connect. I mean, that's like secondary. It's basically an entertainment platform.
Yeah.
Right? But I think about it, when you turn on, I was like, when I put up Instagram and Facebook today, it wasn't really, my intention wasn't really to connect. That was probably secondary. The main purpose was to watch videos, to
Yeah.
see what's entertainment. Instead of turning on the TV, people look at Instagram, they look at TikTok now.
Yeah, it's so true. And even further than that, I don't know if you use it for this, but I use it to shop.
Yes,
Like
absolutely.
I
Yeah.
actually train my algorithm to like serve me up content on home design. If I'm like I just redid my bedroom, right? So I was like training my algorithm to serve me up content on like Target finds and Amazon finds, right? So social media is also used right now for people to connect with people who are going to make product recommendations. That's a game changer for network marketing. So I think when we think about it like that, right? Like people right now are on social media searching for the solution that you offer, whatever that is, whether it's home design or supplements, right? There are people out there that are searching for the solution that you offer. And if you can pinpoint what exactly that solution is and who exactly is going to buy that, you can create content that gets pushed out to those people. And you can create a new warm market, right? A new warm market of customers or partners that are looking for exactly what you offer.
Yeah, it's either you when you talk about shopping, I was like, no, I don't really. My initial reaction was, no, I don't really use that. But then I thought about, I've been wanting to get one of those camper vans, like those Sprinter vans, and I realized that, like I think 2 months ago, my whole Instagram feed was flooded with camper vans. And you're right, those people who got my attention following, they have great videos. They show the tours of how the vans, have the shower, the bathroom in the back, what the beds, right? You can do. Because people are looking, people don't even realize it, but they're shopping and they're kind of comparison shopping. So you got to have the content out there. If I was starting, just say, if you were starting today, right, at your age right now, who will your target market be?
My target market would be exactly who I am.
Hmm.
So I think people overcomplicate the target market thing. I actually hate that term. I'm mad at myself for using it today. Because I hate that term because I actually think it freezes people.
Yeah.
People like get all caught up in their thoughts and feelings. It's like an existential crisis. Like, who am I? Right. So I actually think it's very simple. Your target market, your focus, your niche, whatever it is that you want to call it, it's you. Right. So what I think a good way to think about it is who were you 6 months ago?
Hmm.
So for me, if I was starting from scratch today, I would look at who was I 6 months ago and what was I trying to achieve? And I would create content that would speak to the wants and desires of who I was 6 months ago.
Yeah, that's really good. And I want to mention two things for our listeners is that it's 6 months ago, right? So you obviously, if you're watching this on YouTube or listening to Bec right now, you're way more experienced than you were 6 months ago. But it's 6 months ago, that person, you probably know a lot more that can help that person 6 months ago.
Yeah,
Not
and
who you.
agreed. And it also gives you that time to have a transformation of some kind,
Hmm.
right? So it could be a product transformation. It could be personal development transformation. It could be a financial transformation. But most of the time over a 6-month period, you've transformed in some way. So rather than saying, I have to be all the way up here, right? All the way at the top in order to sell and to invite people towards my solution, you really don't. You just have to be on a journey and have had some sort of a small transformation along the way.
Yeah, and who you are is that it's good because you're relatable, right? And it's easy to create content who you were 6 months ago because you know that person. That was you. And what you said is like when you be at the top, often that's not relatable. Like you 6 months ago is way more relatable than if you were at the top, right? That's really good. Shifting gears a little bit, this is actually my favorite question, by the way. What was your worst moment in network marketing to the point you wanted to quit, but you did not quit?
All right. I have a story for you. It's kind of crazy. So I am the most coachable person in the room. I believe that. Okay. Like if you tell me to do something, I'm going to go and do it, even if it's crazy. So my upline at the time told me that I should walk around my neighborhood knocking on doors with a bucket full of products and allow people to borrow them. And they were cleaning products, right? So borrow them and use them for 7 days. And then you go back and you try and get the enrollment. I would say that one of my worst moments in this industry was walking around my neighborhood with a bucket of cleaning products.
In New York City?
No, I had moved to the suburbs at this point. So I was in Westchester, New York, right outside of the city.
Yeah, but still, that's like a New Yorker's living in Westchester. Hilarious. So how did it go? How big was that bucket? And how many products did you have in there?
So it was not huge, right? It was like a normal size bucket. I'm pretty sure I like took it out of like my kid's sandbox or something. Maybe 5 or 6 cleaning products were in there. And yeah, you're right. Like, I mean, I saw people literally open the blinds of their window and they would see me out there clearly trying to sell something and they would close the blinds, like not even answer the door. But here's the thing is that through that process, so while it was like probably my worst moment in this industry, I learned a lot from it. And I actually did get a few customers and a partner from it.
Okay. And what was it? Obviously, it wasn't in the winter. It was in summer, hot summer, spring. I can't even imagine that. New York's hot and humid. Well, when did you do this?
I think it was spring or fall, probably.
But you did get a few customers.
I did.
Right? As ridiculous as it sounds, it tells you that, you can make money or make excuses. There's always one way that works if you're willing to do that.
Yeah. And the thing for me was I could go get a job that I hated, or I could figure this out. Right.
Yeah. How long did you do that for?
I only did that one time. So I did that one time. I probably spent about 2 hours knocking on doors.
And you got customers from that. That's actually not that bad.
I did.
2 hours. It's really good.
Yeah.
I know you're super consistent because you talked about it's just power, but we're human. We always get distracted. What are some routines you have that help you stay consistent?
It's a good question. I walk 3 miles every single morning. It's the first thing I do after my kids leave for school. It started as a mental health thing after the pandemic, just getting out of the house and moving. And it's turned into a, mental health / fitness thing now. I absolutely learned that I love walking. And on those walks, I do one of 3 things. I either take the headphones out and completely allow myself to think, because we don't give ourselves a lot of time to do that, right? I take a call from somebody on my team, like I do a coaching call, or I listen to a podcast. So those are things I do every single day for myself that allows me to start my day relaxed, but with energy.
What if the weather was bad? And what would you do?
I walk in the snow.
Okay. Rain?
I mean, yes, I walk in downpours sometimes. I actually love walking in downpours. Now, if it's like a blizzard, I also have weights in my house. So I'll do like weights or something else, but I try and do something to move my body every single day.
That's awesome. I think I like the downpour and the snow because it just builds mental toughness.
Yeah.
Like these small little things. Well, you don't need to do that, but I think every time you do it, it makes you more consistent and increases your self-esteem and belief in yourself.
Absolutely.
Um, I forgot to ask you one thing about duplication
Mhm.
because attraction marketing, I know some people always ask me these questions. How is that duplicatable? What would you say to that? Because obviously you're able to do it in your team.
Yeah, I think attraction marketing can be super overcomplicated and not duplicatable at all. But I also think it can be the most duplicatable way to build a business. Here's the thing is that not everyone who comes onto your team is going to have the influence to attract people right away, but I believe influence can be taught. So one of my favorite things about building a business on social media is that you can teach people over time to build influence, and that is super duplicatable, right? So you can't necessarily teach somebody to become influential in their communities, right? Or with activities that they're in, people are who they are. But I do believe that through adding value on a specific topic, you can create influence on social media, and that is extremely duplicatable.
Yeah. And going back to what you said, find a target audience, find, know what problems and giving the solutions and adding value every day.
Exactly.
Awesome. Hey, thank you so much. You've been amazing. As we wrap up the show, some quick questions to pick your brain. And these can be quick one sentence.
All right, let's do it.
What is one of your favorite success quotes that motivates you?
Let us all be the leaders we wish we had.
Who's that by?
Simon Sinek.
What is one habit that's helped you become successful?
Moving my body every single day.
What's the best piece of advice you ever received?
If it's meant to be, it's up to me.
What is your favorite prospecting tool? So, say someone is interested, a qualified prospect. Do you Zoom with them? Do you meet them? Do you send them a video first? What do you like to use?
I send a video.
It's a personal video or company video?
So if it's a total complete first look, it's a company video that's 2.5 minutes. Second look would be a 30-minute personal video.
Oh, so the 30-minute personal video is basically like a presentation.
Yeah, correct. Like an opportunity presentation.
What's your favorite app on your phone that's not a social media app?
Notes, hands down notes. My whole life is in notes. You could literally hack my brain in my notes.
What are 2 or 3 books you could recommend to ML Nation?
Am I going to get killed if I say the new Britney Spears book? Probably never heard that before, right?
I've never heard that before. Cool.
I feel like people get so serious in this industry and everything has to be personal development related. It's also okay, you guys, to like Netflix and chill and read a Britney Spears book sometimes, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's awesome you said that because, like, she's an entertainer. She gives a lot in terms of value, attraction marketing. She gives tons of value, right? Music, and we are creators and gives us ideas, gives you better
Absolutely.
ideas for content. Absolutely, I think one of my mentors said that one of the best things to do is, I think Tim Irwin was talking about it as well in attraction marketing. That was like reading only fiction, right? Because it
Yeah,
expands the ideas. And then you think about, okay, how do I apply that to my business? What stories I can tell? Because like you said, you want to create reels and videos. That's your source of ideas, fiction.
I love it. I love it. If you want like a personal development book, I would say my favorite of all time is The Radical Leap by Steve Farber.
Okay. And here's the last question, the
All right.
$1 million question. You ready? So imagine you had to start all over again and you knew no one, but you had all your current knowledge, skills, and wisdom. What's the first thing you do or the first place you go to build a network marketing business from scratch?
I would build a brand online. I would decide what platform that I felt most comfortable with, and I would zero in on that platform. Doesn't matter what it is. It could be YouTube, it could be a blog, it could be Instagram, it could be Facebook, it could be X, right? But I would zero in on a platform and I would build a brand over there and I would add massive value around whatever the topic is that my brand is focused on, and build a new community of people.
So I'm putting you on the spot. What brand would you focus right now if you were to do it right now?
So if I was doing it right now with all the experience I have, it would be business building.
Got it.
If I was starting from scratch and I had no business experience and no reason to be trusted as a business person, it would be the exact reason why I chose to start network marketing. Whatever that why was, would be what I would build the brand on.
Awesome. Then that would be being in the box and working until you retire at 65.
Exactly. Yeah. Or a health need, maybe that brought me there, right? Like either one.
As we wrap up, any last words of advice? And then also, what's the best way our listeners can connect with you, Bec?
Come hang with me on Instagram. That's my platform of choice these days. And any last words of advice would be keep listening to this podcast, right? Like this is one of my favorite podcasts, Simon. And I just appreciate the value that you pour out for this community on a weekly basis.
Thank you, Bec. Hey, ML Nation, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And today you may hang out with Bec Sadek. So keep up the momentum. Go to mlnation.com, go on the podcast tab, and the show notes will be right there. Definitely go follow Bec on Instagram and definitely connect with her as well. And she's got tons of value online. Hey, in order to be successful in life, in business, and in network marketing, you must help others. So Bec, thanks again for sharing your valuable time with ML Nation. We're grateful to you, and we appreciate you for having a positive impact on millions of distributors worldwide. Thank you so much again, and God bless you.
Thank you.
Hey, ML Nation, Simon Chan, great show from Bec Sadek. I love it. New Yorkers. I don't know why, but when I got her phone number, not many people have 917 numbers. I'm still proud, even though I haven't lived in New York for over 20-something years. I still got that New York number. But you know what? I was going to add to this in the show where, it doesn't matter where you go, it's going to be skeptical people, right? And it doesn't matter where. So New Yorkers are skeptical, but you know what? Hey, one of my top leaders earned over 7 figures in the business from New York. Bec Sadek is from New York. I'm from New York. And I think one of the advantages is, unlike, there's always pros. I think you have to train your brain to think about, look at the positives, right? If everyone was receptive to network marketing, then you probably know, some in companies already, right? Or they haven't been succeeded, or they can't stand it anymore, right? Sometimes you get from people from Utah. Well, everyone knows about network marketing. It's really hard to recruit people. True, okay. But then you go to New York, no one is like a lot of people, like especially my friends, when we were growing up, I had friends in the 30s until they knew me. They never even heard of network marketing, including myself. I had to read Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad to find out about network marketing. So the point is, there's opportunities everywhere. It doesn't matter where you go. There's people skeptical. Some people may be open, but they have no money. So there's a lot of people with money, but they're not open. So just focus on the positives. Train your brain to think of the positives, right? So if you're listening from the Northeast, some people are skeptical, and not as many people involved. But there's a lot of people who are involved. And with social media now, I think one of the best parts, everyone knows someone that's made a lot of money working from home. And that's a fact. Right now, they may not believe in it. They may not know the person. They have seen some profile, someone who made a lot of money working from home. So people are all open. Again, it goes back to philosophy, like everything's all good. Learn to look at the positives and not the negatives. And someone like Bec joined without any objection, right? Like, so you can have other Bec Sadeks in your life right now that you think may not be interested. Like, she obviously had a very work background, very diverse work background, but they're open for network marketing. Another lesson was she shared about her worst moment. I thought that was awesome. Like carrying a bucket and going around in the suburbs of New York, knocking on doors. But you know what? It works, right? It shows that there's so many ways to build. Now, that may not be what you want to do, but it works. At the end of the day, she didn't want to do it, but she did it. You can make money or make excuses, but you can't make both. There's always a way to make it happen. She spent a lot of time talking about traction marketing. I highly recommend you go back to listen to it. It starts off with finding your target audience, right? And then giving content for that audience. We talk about different things, giving value. If you're on my email list, I sent an email like about 1 or 2 weeks ago. My son had a Instagram video of 24,000 views. We just had one today, 16,000 views, because I'm here to promote his baseball, right? He wants to play at a high level, and he's giving content a certain type of target audience wants. right? So there's all the types of his target audience is people who are into youth baseball. Just learn what's your target audience. And the best target audience is generally the person you were either 6 months ago, or a lot of times I share the person you were before you got started in network marketing. Not you right now, because you're a lot wiser, but who you were. And sharing that transformation, share that story. When you share that transformation, how you've changed, whether through the products or service or your personal development, that is inspiring to people. Again, if I think back to where I was in corporate America, very similar to Bec. And if I heard a story about someone able to earn part-time income, residual check, that would inspire, right? That would get me going. I'd be very curious. So look for that, right? Who is your target audience? That's the person you were 6 months ago, or the person where you were before you got started, and providing inspiration and valuable content to that person. And if you want to find out what type of content, definitely go follow Bec. Go to mlnation.com, click on the podcast tab. I have the links of what the stuff she recommended, and do a profile right there as well. So many nuggets about if it's meant to be, it's up to me. A lot of great quotes there. Her mind, working her body, getting exercise, making her feel well, her consistency routine. These are all habits of successful people that you can do. Not just copy what people do, but copying how they think, her mindset. And one last thing before this recap is a little bit different, but skipping around here, is when she got started, your people joined right away because of the person she was. She was networking for a long, long time before she got started in network marketing because of her health coaching business, right? So if you don't have those results, have you been networking? Have you been giving value? Have you been meeting people, right? She was knocking on doors trying to sell her health coaching business before she got started in network marketing. She had a certain level of mental toughness, right? She had a network as well. So it goes back to building your network. Your network determines your net worth. So awesome stuff. And I could go on and on. I think there was something else I missed here. But yeah, definitely go follow Bec. And yeah, the last thing was trading time for money, residual check. If you really all know what residual income is like not trading time for money, you all will work so much harder. But I just got a residual check today, and it's awesome. Did nothing. And I something I did like months ago, and I got paid for it. You all know that feeling? Like when I woke up, I actually didn't get a check. It was an email. Like, oh, you just got deposited your PayPal account. Like, that's cool, right? That pays for baseball tournaments. So you all work so much harder. Hey, stay consistent. If you like this, please subscribe to this on ML Nation. Again, reminder, these are not free. It took a lot of Bec's time, my time to put together. Make sure you just subscribe to us on the podcast, subscribe to us on YouTube as well. Leave a feedback. Let us know how we're doing, and take action on what you learned, and go out there, have a positive impact on someone's life. God bless you all.